We can see many national populist parties gaining momentum, and even government, as seen in Italy most recently with
Yeah.
Malone. Um, I wrote on my one of my articles I wrote on my website was the idea of I proposed the idea of a creation of a anti-globalist international. Um, I know this isn't really a new idea. There already are the International Democratic Union, which is basically the conservative um, branch that has all conservative parties across the world joining, and also the Socialist International as well, with obviously the left. Um, but as I wrote there, that they both seem to be basically globalist, and I would suggest that these national populist movement internationally really would benefit from actually getting together. Um, that's why I suggested its own international. I know Steve Bannon at least attempted that in the past, but it didn't really go anywhere. I think partly because he was focusing purely on the right of politics across the world, and regardless how extreme some of the options were, which I think kind of soured a lot of people from actually joining him. Um, so my idea isn't new, but would you think that such a proposal is realistic? And would you see that actually occurring?
On the COVID, no, I don't. To give you the short answer, and I'll try to explain why. With the COVID mismanagement, a gross mismanagement, it was never meant to be focused. It was never focused at all on helping people's health. COVID mismanagement was never focused on that. It was focused on control of people and wealth transfer to big pharma. That's the fundamental things, and they were implemented using deceit. So deceit leading to control and wealth transfer. In 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 each of several countries, not all countries, in each of several countries, there were people like me speaking up, and we got connected by various people, some by doctors, some by politicians, because they could see some merit in keeping an open dialogue and seeing what was coming up. But they quickly withered because it takes energy and action to actually keep that together. Because the natural interest is in each of our countries, and
Hmm.
each of us, our interest is in the country. And what we've got, so I'll move to the next point. I'm just trying to unpack this. I haven't dealt with this before, so maybe we can unpack it together. But the other thing, there are two fundamentals for structuring a society. One is the family, and the other is the nation state. They're fundamental. And globalists are trying to destroy the family so they get people looking to the government. And then they're trying to destroy national government to get people looking to global government. I mean, that's nothing new. You've heard that these same lunatics at the top of the WEF, World Economic Forum, and the United Nations have been saying that for years. Um, so I don't. That's the second thing. I think the best way to deal with these mongrels is to come up with a strong national focus, a strong family focus. So the other thing is that when we still are, but when we were working within the Galileo movement, there are a number of discrete entities fighting this climate scam and exposing the scam. And some people at various times said, "Why don't we all unite?" And I said, "No, no, no, no." And Viv Forbes, another strong one, who said, "Don't unite," because what happens when you unite, Daniel, is that you might have 5 or 6 groups. They all come together. They pick one leader, and then their opponents destroy that person using lies. It doesn't matter. They just destroy that person. But if they've got 5 or 6 different individuals, you can't destroy all of them, because after a while it becomes pretty clear to people that all they're doing is trying to destroy them with lies. So I think it's better to let people, let the parties work alone, but work together in the sense that they form allies. So they're much less of a target. And also, we don't know which one will produce the goods. So let them all experiment. And whichever one is the best will get the goods. So don't fight globalism with globalism. Fight globalism with nationalism, patriotism, and also focus on strengthening the national, because the national strength is what will smash these globalists. So, and boosting the family will also smash these globalists. So that's where we've got to come back to. And I believe competition is the best form of enhancing a group. When we focus on competition, we refine our debate, just like companies do.
Well, I guess from my perspective, I understand what you're saying, but I suppose even if it's not a formal group, if it could be at least a meeting ground of maybe a loose federation, say, of all these other parties, at least have each other's back, can help with dialogue, offer advice to each other, offer information to what's going on, what you've heard, what I've heard. We can, and because it's hard enough already going against establishment in your own country, but globalism, as in its name, it's global. You can't escape to one country. It's happening everywhere. So although the focus should be on your own country, but I would still be open to the idea of at least getting some sort of alliance going, at least with the anti-globalist parties across the world. But I don't know.
I'm not ruling that out, because there are some merits in that, especially in the communication within each country. But if you look at the so-called freedom parties, and we're one of them, we're the largest of the freedom parties. We did come together. We were doing things that had never been done before in this country. United Australia Party, Liberal Democrats, One Nation were getting together. IMOP, Informed Medical Options Party. We were getting together and having candidate nights, jointly organised, jointly supported by the four parties, sometimes three parties, sometimes two parties. Steve Mav, our Senate candidate in Tasmania, was very close to the UAP in particular, and the UAP was close to us. So they actually had, and then Topher Field joined the campaign and worked with both of them, and he was the LDP candidate in Tassie. So they worked together. We had people in Western Sydney putting on evenings, forums for voters together. So that was wonderful. We also had how to vote cards that said put the majors last. The Greens dead last, Labor second last, Liberals third last, Nationals fourth last, but put the minor parties, the freedom parties, 1, 2, 3, 4. We had strong agreement on that. It made sense. So, and there were many times when I stood up at election rallies, Daniel, and I said, vote for freedom parties number one. And that's all I said. Sometimes I would say, and of course we would prefer One Nation be one, but whichever one you do, put 1, 2, 3, 4, the freedom parties. That's it. And we had Craig Kelly doing the same. What disappointed us was that Craig very strongly backed us, but somewhere along the line in the United Australia Party, there were some seats in Queensland, some seats in New South Wales, and there's a very positive message that comes out of what I'm about to say. The party headquarters for the United Australia Party put down vote 1 United Australia Party, vote 2 Liberals. Their own candidates were shocked. So much so that talking to them on pre-poll, their own candidates told their party headquarters, I am not handing these out. If you want one to be handed out at the pre-poll, you will do a fair dinkum how to vote card that puts the minor parties first, the freedom parties first, and the majors last. And that's what happened. So the other thing that happened with that campaign is that there were some very strong candidates, One Nation, United Australia Party. We got a lot of people actively engaged in politics because of the mismanagement by the Labor and Liberal globalists. And so what you'll find, I think, is the minor parties doing better in future. And we did form a loose federation within our country. And maybe there is an opportunity to form a loose federation externally, because the globalist approach is similar in each country, but has it's tailored slightly differently for each country.
Okay.
So there's some rambling thoughts, but there's nothing concrete.
No, but at least there's hope, I suppose. there's
Yeah.
there's a possibility at least.